Trump pushed CIA to give intelligence to Kremlin, while taking no action against Russia arming Taliban.
Here's a summary of the article.
Third, behind the scenes, Trump directed the CIA to share intelligence information on counterterrorism with the Kremlin despite no discernible reward. Former intelligence officials who served in the Trump administration told Just Security. What we now know is that President Trump not only failed to push back against Russia's arming the terrorist group. President Trump has denied being informed of U.S. intelligence reports on the Russian bounty operation, but the same can't be so easily claimed about the Russian weapons to the Taliban. How much would that matter without President Trump's taking action, including in his public statements about Russia and engagements with Putin? At the same time that senior U.S. military officials were publicly expressing concerns that Russia was arming the Taliban's terrorist activities that threatened U.S. personnel, President Trump was pushing the CIA to share counterterrorism intelligence information with the Kremlin. There's no analogous statute barring cooperation by the CIA. That's where the White House succeeded in pushing the CIA to cooperate with Russia despite analysts determining the Kremlin would provide nothing in return. Two former CIA officials who served in the Trump administration told me. Douglas London, a CIA senior operations officer who retired at the end of 2018, told me that despite increasing reflections of Russian material support to the Taliban raised publicly by Defense Secretary James Mattis in 2017 and throughout 2018 by General John Nicholson, President Trump pressured CIA to invest time and resources increasing counterterrorist cooperation with Russia.
This post received a score of 83,000, with an upvote ratio of 85%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
What in the actual fuck?
I refuse to believe there's not a pee-pee video. It's just too crazy not to be true.
With minors that look like his daughter.
And at this point, that would shock nobody.
They'd spin and celebrate it. His supporters certainly would. Even underage, they'd shout, "She looks old enough to me." Part of the reason they support him is because they envy his ability to say the most racist, sexist, vile shit and suffer zero consequences for it. They wish they could say the things he says at work without hearing from HR or getting summarily dismissed. There's no doubt in my mind that a non-trivial portion of Trump supporters would also envy his ability to procure sex with minors if confronted with hard evidence that he has done so.
Cop, what the hell, I love incest now.
What do you mean, now?
I get West Virginia and Kentucky, but come on Alaska, you're better than that.
To be fair to Alaska, their population density makes it almost inevitable.
If he isn't a Russian agent, then why does he act like one?
I like to ask, what could he do differently if he was a Russian agent? Zero answers.
He could make it a bit less obvious.
Yeah, this is what makes me think he just has a deep psychological need to make Putin like him. If it were just blackmail, he'd be more subtle about it.
Greater than he'd be more subtle about it. But if you factor in his narcissism, I'm not so sure that's the case.
Don't forget his general idiocy. The man can barely read.
Probably can't read, that's why he wants to ban teleprompter.
He can definitely read the teleprompter, but he struggles to stay focused. Probably some undiagnosed ADHD thing. Coupled with his narcissism, it gets amplified.
Multiple counts of treason. So get rid of Trump, of course, but also remember to defeat every possible Republican senator and House member for actively covering for said treason.
The president is the greatest threat to our national security. Followed closely by the Senate for allowing him to continue.
Greater than the president is the greatest threat to our national security. Followed closely by the Republicans in the Senate for allowing him to continue. FTF the ones who decided not to remove him from office.
Ironically, if Republicans had removed him from office, Pence would have a much better chance of winning the upcoming election.
Right. They ended up shooting themselves in the foot by not ousting him.
It's all about their own hides and the fact that Trump supporters would destroy any senator's chance of re-election if they voted to remove him.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.